that they're gonna that,
Elon.
It probably dawned on him it's not real, is my guess.
Yeah, it's well, it's not good for business to have him as the face of the company anymore. That's for fucking sure.
Not at all.
You can't be, that's like Michael Jordan, remember? And he said, hey, Republicans buy sneakers too, or whatever. They buy Air Jordans too. I'm not and that's what business is, It's like, but Elon Musk doesn't get that. I mean, what? he might figure out how to hire the guys to make a rocket, but he hasn't figured out how to not make his stock tank when he decides to shit on half the country.
Because the stock's always tanking. By the way, I hate the stock market because I remember that he smoked a joint on Rogan.
Yeah, I know. And that was a bit. I know,
dude. I mean, I don't know if I can.
The stock market, they're all full of they're all cokeheads going over to strip joints and having 3 martini lunches. The point is,
if it goes down, buy Tesla. That's my advice. Like I should have done with Bitcoin every time it went down, and I never did.
I know. I bet it'll come back as soon as they make a car that's actually comfortable. Because I don't know, every time I get in a Tesla, it rides like I'm in a shopping cart. Like, do you guys have shocks on this car at all? It's not
I don't know what you're talking about at all. I've never had that experience. In fact, going fast, it really makes me feel queasy because I can't feel anything.
No, it goes fast, but it's not. Well, maybe you're not sitting in the back seat. I'm always sitting in the back seat, and it's a tough ride. It's bumpy.
I didn't even know they had one.
Yeah, because
they make different models, I guess. But
because I drive Ubers and Lyfts all the time, right? And so they always show up in a Tesla, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I'd so much rather have a fucking Toyota Camry or a RAV4 or something. But the Tesla's just like, anyway, we got to start the show. I'm here with Kurt Mexican. He's in Austin. I'm here. I'm back home. Hey, I should have showed that video. Oh, I'll get it.
What?
We'll show it Wednesday.
No, I'll show it today. But the video of we were in San Jose last night is amazing. It was amazing. It was.
Have you ever been?
It made me start to regret other things in my life.
I haven't been.
Kurt's never been to San Jose Improv, but it was full. It was like there was 500 people who came to see me on purpose.
And were we there in 22? Was that when the last time we were there?
We were there in 2022.
Wow. And that crew at San Jose Improv, they treated us so well. It was
so
terrific.
The last time we were there, it wasn't all the way full because people were still afraid of
Right.
But now that's over. And so the place was jammed. It was packed. And I was so happy. But let's get to this. Guess what? We've been telling you that there wasn't a thing they didn't lie to you about. They lied about masks. They lied about herd immunity, natural immunity. They lied about the stopping transmission. They lied about the stopping contraction. They tried to bury the trial data for 75 years. They got rid of the placebo group, which you're not supposed to do in science. They lied about where the virus came from. They lied about funding the virus. Well, guess what? Now Jeffrey Sachs is telling us that it wasn't actually invented in China. Jeffrey Sachs was, by the way, remember he was the head of the Lancet study group to study the virus, where it came from. So now he's saying this.
I'll tell you a sad truth, also a little surprising. And I have to admit, what I'm about to tell you is only 99% sure. But my view, based on very extensive work over the last 4.5 years, is that came from the University of North Carolina, which is the leading researcher on beta coronaviruses, working with the U.S. government on a set of grant proposals that identified putting in the viral change that created SARS-CoV-2. It's a grim truth. It's ugly. It's been hidden from view. The reason I mention it in this context, we don't have any global governance that is effective right now to control the manipulation of dangerous pathogens like the manipulation that created the pandemic. And when it happened, and officially it took 7 million deaths, but probably if you count all of the deaths associated with probably closer to 20 million deaths. Even when that
Yeah, I can't believe that he still quotes that statistic. We know that they were overcounting those deaths. They were saying people who died from, and we know that's not true. So we know. So I'm kind of surprised he's still quoting that. That's a shocker to me.
By the way, dying with was the whole point of designing and releasing so that people that would die with do that. And it's not an accident. Oh, it accidentally got out in Wuhan and Fort Detrick?
Yeah.
They both had oopsie butterfingers? No, that's planned. And the guy that told me about the Taliban having the lithium triangle in it, and his info was good, he told me the deal in China is they've got that population bomb of old people that they can't take care of because they don't have kids to replace them, and they don't do immigrants. So they need to soft kill, just like in America where we don't want to pay Social Security. That means how I take that, this is just my personal, how I take it, Fauci and a coalition of whoever's with China, they both released at the same time because the plan was to get rid of some excess population with.
Now, that's Kurt's theory, and I am past the point where I discount anybody's theory on or anything that the government has said in the last 20 years because it's been nothing but lies, lies, and lies, starting at 9/11. And going right through every war, going right through Libya, right through the meltdown, right through everything, right through Ukraine, Syria, Afghanistan for 20 years, everything about. So if you can think it, there's a good chance it's true, is what I'm saying. But I'm surprised he still quotes that number. Let me just see what else he has to say here.
happens, it's never properly investigated. Up. It's hidden from view.
This is a big claim. It's the first time that I hear.
Yes, it's a big claim. So, of course, it's never. So, a lot of people are scared that he's calling for global governance to stop. I don't think he wants the world's governments to agree to stop doing gain of function. I don't think he's advocating for the global governments to come together and start a World Health Organization. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's saying, hey, let's have a world treaty to stop gain of function. I'm on board with that. He's right about that. But this is not new news. And my question to Jeffrey Sachs, who's a friend of the show and an amazing guy just in general on world politics, my question to him, I wish that guy would have asked him, when did you figure this out? How long have you known this? Because Redfield, this is the former CDC director. He was the CDC director under Trump for a little while. He said this last year, I think in November on this podcast.
Who else? China said it.
And China's been saying that, by the way.
They were telling the truth. They were telling the truth.
China's been telling the truth that, no, it was created at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill by Ralph Barrick. And here, this is what he says. Watch. Oh, God damn it.
Barrick at the University of North Carolina.
Oh, hang on. Go to Steph for a second. I effed up.
Okay, let's go to Steffi Z. Here we go. I have a couple comments already, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We had a great time in Bakersfield. Terrific time in San Jose.
This virus was engineered, I think.
I would say it was a good time in Bakersfield.
Chonky, jamming to the break time salsa. Some Chinese guy made all these songs. Chonky. And then Fiend Temp, third time seeing JD live. The whole show was very funny, starting with Steph to the end. Better without Negronis, just saying. All right.
Oh, how did he know I wasn't drinking?
Because you had just water on stage.
Really better without Negronis? I always think I'm funny with a few drinks. I haven't had a cocktail. I haven't had a cocktail since over a month, since we were in Atlantic City. I got the flu, and then I just never had another drink after that. But anyway, here's Redfield.
This virus was engineered. I think it was intentionally engineered as a part of a biodefense program.
What was the U.S. role?
So when they say biodefense, they mean it wasn't created for defense. It was created to be a weapon, and then they create the vaccine so it was created as a weapon, not to defend ourselves from someone else. It was a weapon to attack people, and then they create a vaccine so they could give it to our people who are so that's what that's all about. But anyway, so she asked him this question.
In that,
I think it was substantial, and this is why.
What was the role of the U.S. in creating this?
You know, when you look at the accountability for China, their accountability is not in the lab work and the creation of the virus. Their accountability is not following the international health regulations after they realized that they had a problem, and allowing people like me at CDC to come in and to help them within 48 hours like they were obligated to based on the treaty. But the U.S. role was substantial. One is they funded the research, both from NIH, the State Department, USAID, and the Defense Department. All four of those agencies helped fund this research. Secondly, the mastermind behind this research is a guy named Ralph Barrick at the University of North Carolina. And he was very involved in this research. I think he probably helped create some of the original viral lines, but I can't prove that. But he was very involved. And
some have said that they are concerned that it was actually developed here and China was framed. Is that possible?
Well, I don't know if they were framed, but I think there is a real possibility that the virus birthplace was Chapel Hill.
So he was saying that last year, and we need to ask him if Fort Detrick is the source of the pandemic. In summer 2019, an epidemic of an unknown respiratory disease spread across the United States when the CDC abruptly shut down Fort Detrick for serious safety violations. And this is from Global Biodefense. Research halted. The U.S. Army Medical Research Institute of Infectious Diseases, the only biosafety level 4 laboratory in the Department of Defense, has ceased research operations on high-risk pathogens after failing to meet. So that was when a lot of people were getting sick, these respiratory viruses, and they go, oh, it's remember they said it was from vapes. And a lot of people speculate. I'm like, why would it just happen in that area? Why would people be getting sick from the vapes just there? People are using vapes all over the world. Why just right around Fort Detrick? So then they shut it down, and of course you were lied to about that. And so here,
you know how, Jimmy, if you do vape and you drop your vape on the ground and you get something in there, you're inhaling it into your lungs. So it's kind of but it wouldn't just be everywhere because a virus is loose in the area where you dropped your vape.
So the Carolina Journal, the former CDC director, claims that vaccine emanated from you. This is from last November. At the time, UNC Board of Governors Chairman Randy Ramsey said Dr. Barrick has provided life-saving coronavirus treatment options for the people of our state, our nation, and the world. But rumblings of Barrick's possible involvement in the virus's creation have been circulating almost since its known beginnings. Hey, before we go on, Malcolm, can you find that when Rand Paul questioned Fauci and he said, "Are you funding gain-of-function research?" And he said, "No." And he said, "Are you doing it with Ralph Barrick at the University of North Carolina?" And he said, "No. But if we are, it's being done according to regulations." Do you remember that? Could you find that video? We've used it before, but I don't know in what. So see if you can find it. And of course, cut this out. But the rumblings of Barrick's possible involvement in the virus's creation have been circulating almost since its known beginning. But you're never going to hear that on MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, Fox News.
You don't want him to be cyberbullied, Jimmy.
Barrick has been researching coronavirus for 3 decades. So for 30 years, he's been doing this work. Barrick was named in different conspiracy theories. That's according to the Carolina Journal. Conspiracy theories. You mean conspiracy facts?
That it wasn't a wet market? Do we have a wet market in Raleigh?
Barrick was named in different conspiracy theories after a 2015 paper he co-authored with many other scientists, including one associated with the Wuhan lab, which showed that coronaviruses in bats could directly infect humans rather than evolving in another animal first. This first theory that emerged about the origins of vaccine was that it first appeared in a bat form, a wet market in China. Because that was a lie. They just made it. Wasn't a theory. That was a lie. That was made up by Tony Fauci, Tony the Science. It was made up.
Tony the Science.
He gave an $8 million grant to the scientists that he sent to China to find out about the virus. And they originally reported back, it looks 100% like it came from a lab. And he said, hey, here's $8 million. Say it came from a wet market, and that's what happened. So this wasn't a theory. There wasn't a theory. There was no theory that emerged. So this is why you can't trust corporate newspapers. That wasn't
theory emerged.
It wasn't just emerged out of nowhere, like a crack opened up, and then this theory came out.
Like abiogenesis, life from nothing.
The first theory, no, it was the lie that was pushed by Tony Fauci, by Anthony Collins, the entire medical profession, including the medical journals. You always think medical journals are beyond reproach. No, they're all run by criminals who take bribes. That's why they told you don't do your own research, because they knew if you did do your own research and you looked into it for a second, you would find out that they were lying about everything and that the whole medical system is completely corrupt. Completely. They wouldn't allow you to get ivermectin, which is available over the counter in other countries, including Mexico. They wouldn't allow Walgreens to give it out, or they were threatening them. Yeah, that's how corrupt the United States is. So, and the people in the United States don't know, because the people in the United States are so stupid. They have no idea that when they turn on the TV news or read the Washington Post, or that they're being lied to, that they're being propagandized. They don't know that they're the most propagandized people in the entire world. People in China are propagandized. Do you know the difference? They fucking know it. They know they're being propagandized. People in North Korea are being propagandized. You know the difference? They know it. The people in the United States have no idea, and that's how you know it's really good propaganda, because they don't know it's propaganda.
Yeah.
They don't know they were propaganda. What they don't know propaganda is about ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, steroids, early treatments. They were propagandized about masks, the virus, the vaccine, lockdowns, social distances. It was all propaganda, and you bought it. And you still see frickin' people walking around today with masks on.
Right. Well, I think there is a health directive for fat people who work at the airport too.
Yeah, there is definitely.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a theory. The first theory did not emerge about the origins of
the mouth of a liar.
It didn't emerge. It was a lie concocted by Anthony Fauci. That's why he got a blanket pardon going back to 2014. Oh my God, this guy wrote a paper in 2015 all about it. I wonder why his pardon goes all the way back to 2014. Is that because that's when the United States overthrew the democratically elected government in Ukraine, and we started opening up biolabs like McDonald's over there in Ukraine? You think that's it? So we could create bioweapons under the direction of Tony Fauci, who was the head of the bioweapon program for DARPA, which is the Pentagon.
Wait, Jimmy, Obama said you can't do that no more. Does that mean that Ralph Barrick was doing it in America too?
Yes, that's what that means.
Awesome.
In 2021, Barrick signed on to an open letter that appeared in Science demanding an investigation into the origins of... I demand to find out where the gambling's happening in this casino.
It's more of a dare than a demand.
Yeah.
I dare you to try to investigate this and see where you get to.
That same year, U.S. Senator Rand Paul also pointed the finger at Barrick at a congressional hearing. For years, Dr. Ralph Barrick, a virologist at the States, has been collaborating with Dr. Shi Zhengli of the Wuhan Virology Institute, sharing his discoveries about how to create superviruses. Rand Paul said that. We've played that video on this show. He said that to Anthony Fauci in the Senate, in a Senate hearing. And then Anthony Fauci lied to him. So that's the third time I caught Anthony Fauci lying to Congress. And of course, he has a blanket pardon now, so he'll never have to face prosecution over it. That's why they pardoned him, because he lied to Congress on 3 different occasions.
Jimmy, you're just cherry picking all the times he lied.
Yeah, just this gain of function research has been funded by the NIH. The implication was clear: intentionally or unwittingly. It was intentional. Ralph Barrick was complicit in the creation of SARS-CoV-2, notwithstanding the total lack of evidence.
Wait, so you see the connections to China that they all have? So that's USAID,
yes,
the CIA, DARPA, Fauci, all of them have deep relations to China, coming up with bioweapons to soft kill their old people. That's what I think. I think it looks pretty obvious personally.
That's Kurt's personal theory. I cannot confirm or deny that theory. Any theory deserves complete. You should entertain all theories because the stuff that we already know is true is crazier than any theory I could ever hear someone make up.
Well, you just had 2 and 2 in front of your face, too.
Yeah.
Also.
Soon after, Ralph Baric gain of function became a popular online search phrase and included online threats.
Oh, bullying?
As the guy's creating viruses that are killing millions of people, they're worried that that guy who did that might get a threat.
Wow, I had a mandated bioweapon put in me.
Yeah, that's what you had.
Threatening? I feel threatened.
He later told MIT Review, "We never created a super virus." Another lie. That's a figment of Rand Paul's imagination and obviously being used for political advancement. So that's what they do. They try to discredit anybody who's onto them, and they call them conspiracy theories.
Wait, for political advancement? If Rand Paul somehow gets these scumbags the punishment they deserve, I'll put him on
I'll
Mount
make him
Rushmore,
president. Yeah.
Erase the other president. Just put him.
Yeah.
Just Rand Paul. Advance him politically. If anyone that could bring these assholes to justice, please advance them politically.
Listen to how this newspaper reports it, the Carolina Journal. Rand Paul, who also had a beef with Dr. Anthony Fauci. You mean he also exposed Dr. Anthony Fauci for lying to Congress? You mean that kind of a beef? Where he asked him a question and then Anthony Fauci lied to Congress about the dangerous research they were doing? You mean, not research, experiments, crazy, nutty scientist research? So,
Jimmy, this beef is a nothing burger.
Yeah. Former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases had also criticized gain-of-function research, which Baric uses.
I'm sorry, I thought they don't do that. And so,
yeah, I thought they didn't do that. So this research involves. Can you text Malcolm and see if he found that video?
Let me look.
This research involves experiments that alter viruses. Or can you Slack them or whatever you guys do?
Yeah.
This research involves experiments that alter viruses or other organisms' genetic makeup to gain new abilities or functions. In viruses, this can mean making them more transmissible or perhaps more deadly. Or both, which is exactly what they did.
What? Okay.
I wonder if that had something to do with...
Wonder. In 2014, the federal government put a moratorium on some gain-of-function research.
Oh.
But Baric's work was not banned.
So they didn't go around Obama? Obama's in on it.
That's right. Can you look, Misha?
He's looking up too right now.
Can you look on Twitter and see if you... Rand Paul, Fauci, Baric... So now we know it was invented right here in the United States at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
So we do make things in this country.
Yeah, we can still make stuff. We can make bombs and viruses. Anything that has to do with with the Pentagon. We can do that. Anything that has to do. We have a death economy in the United States.
Well, not hypersonic missiles. Somehow Iran.
Somehow we can't make hypersonic
us.
missiles. Somehow.
Maybe this $1 trillion budget will help us catch up to Iran.
Yeah. So, guess what? So, all right. So that's the end of that segment. Here's a new segment. I want to share this with you because it just came out today. Jeffrey Sachs is now being quoted all over social media saying that the 19 virus was created at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. He says he's only 99% sure. Now, Jeffrey Sachs was the head of the Lancet study group about where the came from. But I already showed you that the former head of the CDC, Redfield, already said it was Ralph Baric at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, most likely that created this virus. So it wasn't created in Wuhan. It was actually here. And I've had people come to my shows and tell me that. Well, so the problem is they said Barack Obama stopped that gain of function, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Here it is. It says in 2014, the federal government put a moratorium. Federal government, meaning Barack Obama, put a moratorium on some gain of function research, but Baric's work was not banned.
I mean, how many ways can the government tell you and want you to die, and they're going to lie to you at every step of your life, and they're going to do nothing for you, but only harm
But don't listen to the experts. Don't do your own research. Trust science. Be a moron. Don't think for yourself. Don't ever question authority. Do as the man on the TV says. That's all things I heard from comedians, which makes me embarrassed to be a comedian.
Those are quotes. I know those are quotes, by the way. It sounds like you're being wry. Those are quotes.
Yes. So guess what? Donald Trump today, I'm pretty sure this is today, quote, double check me on the date, he has signed an executive order banning gain-of-function research. It's not research, it's experiments. It's crazy. It's psychopathic research that takes viruses and makes them more deadly and more transmissible. Why would you want to ever do that? Oh, because we want to create bioweapons.
Which I thought you're not supposed to do, but we're not signed on to any Geneva Convention.
So this is today.
Confirmed today.
So here it is today. Today being May
5th.
de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo. Here you go.
The first relates to gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function research is a type of biomedical research where pathogens are adulterated, viruses are adulterated to make them more potent or to change the way that they function. Many people believe that gain-of-function research was one of the key causes of the pandemic that struck us in the last decade. What this executive order does, first of all, it provides powerful new tools to enforce the ban on federal funding for gain-of-function research abroad. It also strengthens other oversight mechanisms related to that issue and creates an overarching strategy to ensure that biomedical research in general is being conducted safely and in a way that ultimately protects human health more.
It's a big deal. It could have been that we wouldn't have had the problem we had.
A lot of people say that, sir.
If we had this done earlier. Thank you.
So there you have it. So finally, we're stopping the crazy bioweapons, psychopathic, crazy scientists experiments. It's not research. There's experiments trying to figure out how to make stuff more deadly so that the Pentagon can then use it as a weapon. That's why Fauci was the guy funding this, because he was the head of the bioweapons division of DARPA, which is the Pentagon. And when did he get that job? Right after 9/11. That's why Fauci was the highest paid guy in all of government. And that's also why he got a blanket pardon going back to 2014, because the people who actually run this country are not politicians. The people who run this country are the donors, the people at the Pentagon, the war machine, Wall Street. Those are the people of Big Pharma. Those are the people who actually run this country. And when you see a session of Congress, those politicians aren't there doing the bidding of workers or students or voters or citizens or the elderly. They're doing the bidding of the people who actually run this country, the owners, as George Carlin put it, the owners of this country. And there's only a handful of them. There's only a handful of billionaires that own all the media. Like 15 billionaires have 6 companies that run every movie, TV show, radio show, newspaper in the country. So
wait, he goes, many people believe it was this research that caused. That really sticks in my craw a little bit, Jimmy. You know what would be a great thing for Trump to do? Sign one of your world famous executive orders to declassify everything relating to that, and then arrest the people responsible for the crime and give them one of those trials we gave Saddam and give them the same treatment we gave Saddam. That would be the right thing to do, because what they're doing right now is Trump was there when we pushed this stupid. Just learned about this just now. So, oh great, you signed it now after the soft kills were done. That's great. Is anybody going to be brought to justice for it? No.
So no, nothing from.
No, not yet.
Okay, so go to Steph for a second.
All right. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. Rubber Toe, thank you very much. Much appreciated. All right. Over here. Oh, boy, we got a lot. Jamming to the break time salsa. I read that one. Okay, here we go. This was the other day, Spooky Spoon. I don't know if I got to this. It said, wow, thanks, Jimmy. I actually learned and understood what's going on in UN Africa now. This is why I love you. That's super nice, Spooky Spoon.
Oh, thank you.
A Houthi hypersonic missile said aloha to Ben Gurion, the airport, not the former Israeli prime minister. I stand with the Houthis.
I don't even say that. You know what? Can I say something about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
How do we know that was a Houthi missile? missile. It sounds like a false flag. Very good chance. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying very good chance. There was a false flag by Israel bombing themselves, which they've done in the past repeatedly, so that they can say, hey, this is coming from Iran. Now Trump's got to go bomb Iran. Because that's what they want.
False flags. They're into false flags.
They're into false flags.
Yeah, this has been going on for centuries. Here we go.
So here is